What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Real Talk Atlanta. We're your hosts, River the Realtor,
Nika W,
Taisha Renee,
and I'm Ashley LeRae.
and per usual, y'all know I'm excited to be here.
We're back.
Let's turn up.
Yes, always. We're vibing, chilling, and just doing what
we
needs to get done. No, that's gonna forever be my favorite part. All right, ladies, the summer is slowly ending. You know, what are y'all plans? What are y'all plans to end the summer out?
Be in the house.
Yeah.
I think it's
Hibernate.
cold. I'm in hibernation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm a Christmas baby, so I kind of like the cold, but like not like going out in the cold and like that.
I'm not a cold person.
That's what I'm saying. What's y'all end of summer plans? It's still hot outside, ladies.
Oh yeah, we
I
got
have a lot of things. I'm going on a cruise in November.
Not a cruise. Period.
Yeah, I have a trip planned, vacation.
Where was that?
In December, we're going to
Again, tell us about-
Tulum.
Ooh, what's the occasion?
For my birthday.
Yeah, like right before Christmas.
So for my birthday.
That's me. Right.
Right before.
December
We're gonna be
22nd.
All right. Look, we'll handle our grievances off air.
Right.
Y'all know me. I'm just going to be brunching.
Brunching.
Shopping.
Hookering.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's jump into today's episode. So, of course, we get a lot of questions from you guys, and that kind of is where we get our topics from. But today, I want to talk about being a buyer and how you pick the perfect home as a buyer, right? We talk a lot about what you need to qualify, but then once you're qualified and you're getting into that process, how do you identify the perfect home for you? So, I'm excited
Well, that's a
about
good
this
one.
episode.
That's a good one.
That is
So
good.
there's so many things to consider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about my favorite part. Y'all know I love to jump in and talk about the finances, talk about
Yes.
the money, because
That's
that's
most
such
important.
That's what it comes down to.
That's the
That's
first
what it
step.
comes down to.
Okay.
I would say one of the biggest things I get all the time is that, you know, a lot of people don't realize your pre-approval amount is based off of what your assets and your income say you can afford, right? It doesn't take into account what you do outside of that may not be on paper. You know how much you spend, your spending habits. So even if you're approved for like $450,000, right? I always tell my clients, what do you want to pay for a mortgage?
Yeah.
That's the first question.
Because if you're approved for $1.5 million and you telling me you want your rent to be under $2,500,
Well, baby, we need to drop that down about
we need to make some
300,000.
adjustments.
Drop it down.
Yeah.
And you need to know like what kind of like what do you want in a home as well. But financially, I love what you're saying because for me as a realtor, before I go look and shop for homes for my client, I always, go to my preferred partner, my lender, and say, okay, can you run these numbers for me? Because then, we can kind of compare and put it down. We don't have to look at 4 homes that you absolutely love but can't afford.
Yeah. I always tell my clients, like, let the lender approve you for whatever your max is because you never know what can happen. Like, you probably can afford to buy a $400,000 house.
Right.
Do that. A $400,000 house, but you just may want to, you want to shop for less than that. You want to spend less than that. You want to shop in the $300,000, which is perfectly fine. But in the instance where you do find that house that you feel like it's just the house and it is a little bit more, at least you have the ability to do that.
Yeah. I recently made a post about I wish people would stop looking at a ton of other factors like the purchase price or the interest rate because the most important thing is what do you want to pay for your monthly mortgage?
Thank you.
I never really recommend, unless you're comfortable with it, to shop at your max of what you're approved for.
Of course.
That's just never a good idea unless you're comfortable with it, then go ahead. But most people, they like to stay way under whatever they're approved for because you want to try to live below your means and be comfortable. That's really important.
And it's nothing more heartbreaking than being approved for like $400 and then seeing your dream home and it's $475. Like, let's just kind of manage our expectations, keep ourselves realistic, and shop for the house that we can afford, right?
Yes.
Right.
And most people's first home is not their dream home.
It's
And
not
that is
their
okay.
forever home.
It's your
Yeah, it's
first
not going to
home,
be a
it's your
forever home.
Exactly. It's
It's
just
a
like a stepping stool or stepping stone to get to your dream home.
It's more of an investment.
Investment. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone should probably look at them unless you're like you just hit the lottery and you like won $5 million and go ahead and buy your dream home. But I feel like if you're just like just regularly shopping, you should always think of your first home as your investment home because this is the home that's going to put that money in your pocket.
Right.
I always tell my first-time home buyers, like, your very first home should make it so that when you buy your next home, you never have to go back into your pocket, right?
Exactly.
Unless you keep that property and it's like an investment property. If your plan is to, like, buy a house now, then later sell it, the sale of that home should fund your next home and your next home and your next home. So I'm all about smart investing. investments, and that's one of the major things I look at when it's like, what's the perfect home?
Mm-hmm.
But because I know Nika kind of brought this up, it's about the house too, right?
Yeah,
You
there.
gotta be there every day.
Yes.
You gotta be happy walking through your front door when you are walking through your garage, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
When you get off from work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be like, oh, I'm home.
I'm home.
The bill. That's
The mortgage is here.
terrible.
Yeah.
Don't get too caught up in that investment thing where now you living in like the super trenches you never wanted to be
Okay,
in.
we
Like,
ain't say
but
live in
it's
that.
an- look, but
Right.
it's an investment.
You don't want to go nobody over. Like,
Right.
No, that's not gonna work. I think definitely figuring out off top, right? What are the non-negotiables? Like, what are the things you cannot live without? And I have to emphasize this: white cabinets. That is not a non-negotiable.
That's
Yeah, that is not.
non-negotiable.
That is
Thank
not.
you. I think when I think of non-negotiables, what do y'all think of? For me, it's location. Right?
Location.
I
'Cause
think
you
it's
can't change
location.
that.
And
I
size.
think it's if number of bedrooms. Like if you have kids, of course, it's non-negotiable that you need about 3 bedrooms because you want your kids to have
Yeah.
a bedroom. Like if you need a garage, that's like you can't live without it. Like that's a non-negotiable.
If you have a cane corso, you need a backyard.
You're right,
Like,
if
Yeah.
you need a backyard. If you
Yeah.
need like. I don't want carpet. I want hardwood floors. That's not non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You can easily anything cosmetic
Right.
is not
No.
a non-negotiable
Yeah.
because you can easily go ahead and change that, and you don't have to change it right when you move in. You can do that over time. Like you
Yeah.
can save for it.
The only thing that you can't change, and I tell this to my clients every time they get pre-approved, I'm like, okay, look, let's have this conversation. Because the only thing you can't change is the location and the size.
Right.
But
That's true.
also-
Everything else,
I mean, you
Let's
can
talk
add
about
on,
it.
make it bigger if you want.
For me, most of my clients, they're about the property type. So a lot of
Right.
new buyers, they don't know. Some of them do know, but some of them really don't know the benefits of like having a townhome. If you like don't really have a family, and then single family like undetached and unattached property, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, that's their negotiable, the non-negotiable. They
Right.
have to have the yard, the backyard, right? Whereas other people, they're like, I can't handle the backyard. Like I
Right. I
had
don't
to
wanna
have
do
a
no
townhome,
outside maintenance.
right? Or I
That's
have
me.
to have a condo. So really know the property types that you're interested in, and for why is the reason?
Yeah.
And also ask your realtor, what do you think about that based on my situation? So,
you still have to be realistic with that too. Like I feel like everyone wants a single family home, but you may not be in the right budget to get a single family home. You may have to get a condo or a townhome because it is a little more affordable or like within your price range, and that's perfectly fine. I love townhomes.
Especially if you want to live closer to the city, because when
Yeah.
you're closer to the city and you're shopping in a lower budget, condos and townhomes are definitely going to be your best because once you get to those single families close to the city,
Yeah.
I mean,
Pretty penny.
unless you're $1 million shopper or close, it's
you have your
yeah.
things intact.
You're not gonna be in Brookhaven with a single family for $300,000. It's just not
Immediately
gonna
not.
happen, So
Immediately.
keep that in mind.
No, and I think that's a good point. I think a lot of times you have to incorporate your lifestyle, right? Because
Right.
if you're on the go 24/7, you don't need a whole bunch of land.
And,
That's stuff that you have to maintain. You go
Less
into a
maintenance.
townhome when it's less maintenance, things like that. And then another thing is like with functionality, right? Because I'm super big on layout. I will change a floor, change a cabinet. I'm not knocking the walls down.
Right.
So I feel like the layout has to literally work. If you have 5 kids, all the bedrooms may not need to be right next to you.
Right.
Those kind of things. I think like layout is another thing that has to like work for your lifestyle. I had a client, he was a music producer. He was like, yeah, a townhome. I'm like,
Now you're gonna be bumping that
no,
music
that
to
you might need
Right.
some space. I think just figuring out what you do on an everyday basis and like how that kind of ties into your lifestyle. Your
That's
Yeah.
important. And my biggest thing with the location too, like you said, functionality, think about your lifestyle. Do you want to be close to your job, or do you not mind a 30-minute commute or near your
that's
children's
important.
school or something like that? That's the big thing with location for me.
For me, with location, I like to think about the future. Like, is this location growing? Like, is there a lot of developments here? Is there the school systems? Like, I look at all those things for when I want to sell it in the future. Do I see myself making the max profit that I want to make off
That's
of
really
it?
good.
So definitely talk to your realtor about that. Like, what's going on in that area. Like, they can tell you what's being built over there. They can tell you what the school ratings are over there. Well, the sites can tell you. There's the websites for you to get that information.
Right.
So
Hello.
you can look at that. We're not going to tell you
Right.
directly, but we can share helpful resources to help you make that decision.
And developments can take time. It may not necessarily be like a year from
Oh,
now.
yeah,
It could be like
absolutely.
10 years, but still, that's a really good investment to think about.
Right.
Yeah, and I think another thing is like being realistic, right? Because I do think it's important that you do make, moves that make sense for long-term investments, but do not put yourself in like an inconvenient situation, right? Like if you love a house, but it's going to be a 3.5 hour commute, like
No.
That's
Because I think
Unless you like
sometimes
the drive.
You're gonna have buyer's remorse, and they're gonna come back
that's
like,
the
"Oh my
thing.
God, this is not for me," and you pushed me. Like you pushed me to make that decision. Like really, what I do for my buyers? I have a pros and cons sheet where it's like at every showing, we're gonna like the first few weeks, I want you to look at every possible option so you can get a feel, because I feel like buyers really don't know what they want until they see it or until they're in the home.
Especially first time home buyers.
First time home buyers are like, wait, I really like a townhome.
Yeah.
And I was really stuck in the, like having right. So in that mindset. So definitely, take your time with the search. Yeah. It's worth it.
Another thing we talk about a lot, though, is like being open-minded in the process, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of, especially in, no shade to the first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Y'all know we love y'all. But I feel like a lot of
times
times, the first-time home buyers kind of go in like, this what I want. Like, I want this, and not open to like the possibility. And I think to find the perfect home, you kind of have to be open to seeing, stuff that you may have otherwise not wanted to see. Y'all.
Right.
Yeah. And we're in 2022. We don't have the inventory for you to be picky. Like, it's just not there. It's like you're just not going to have a house because we can't make the house for you. Like, you have to be open and even just see what the inventory is looking like when you're in the MLS. See what's out there. That's the only way. I feel like once they kind of see what's out there, maybe they start changing their mind. But some people they're really tough. They know what they want, and that's fine. But you have to be open.
Yeah,
for sure.
And some people really do have their own timeline. That goes back to knowing what you really, really want as a buyer, because someone might be starting their process way ahead of time of when they're supposed to move out or make that next step. So those buyers that are picky are people that they know they have the time for it. So they're not going to just pick anything. And I don't want you to just pick anything, because then you come back to me and say, man, I don't like that realtor. Yeah. She pushed me to do something. I hate that feeling. So I want you to really love your home for what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to, I feel like, do y'all think this is a good word, like compromise? Because I have a client, for instance, she wants a single family home, but the upstairs, she wants a loft. Okay, that's fine. If we don't find a loft, I'm like, well, will you take like a basement? She's like, no, I want a loft. But it's still the same space. You know what I mean? I guess.
I would say yes and no, right? Because I think it kind of goes back to your non-negotiables, but it also goes back to being realistic, right?
Right.
I think it's okay to have non-negotiables if it makes sense to very specific things within your lifestyle, right? Because, like you said, if you're not in a rush, the house for you will come.
And you will, you have that feeling. Oh my God. I don't know about you guys. Yes. I will go and wait for my client to get to the home. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna love this. This is their house. I have this, like I have this little tingly feeling in me when I know this is the home for my client.
Yeah, I had a client just recently, and it's so crazy. We went to high school together. She's about a year younger than me, but I guess she went to Spelman for college, so she kind of been out here, and she kind of hit me up. So I'm like, oh, okay. Back home, I'm thinking Chicago. She like, no, girl, in Atlanta. So just like home shopping for her, and like having known her all these years and stuff like that. It was an amazing experience, but of course, you kind of know them a little bit better when you know a little bit more about them. And literally, I think that was a Labor Day weekend. We saw like 11 homes. They were all good. Oh my god! But the very last one, I was like, "This the one." It had to be the last one. I'm crying. We gotta put the offer. Like, this it gets so emotional. Beautiful. Like, I just feel like you know what you know. So I think another thing along with being open-minded is just having that patience, because if you really are I don't want to call your client a stickler, but like if you're a stickler for something specific, it's okay to wait and be patient.
It's okay.
Yeah, sure. If you have the capacity to do that, if you have the time, then absolutely. Sure.
I feel like you have to really have decision making skills. Now there's a difference between being patient and being indecisive and not not really not really taking account of your realtor's time and the drive and all those things that we do. The lender's time. So you can't just like, oh, I like it, and then you go home and you talk to your auntie tomorrow, you don't want the house anymore.
And then
real person.
What was the reason?
Right.
Whenever my client doesn't like a home, I always ask for their feedback. Okay, why didn't you like it?
So you can make that note.
I didn't really like that curtain they had. I'm like, wait a minute. That's like, come on, like,
okay, girl. I'll go in and remove.
You just didn't like the house. Let's move on.
And I'm actually glad you brought up. No offense, TT, but like I'm glad you brought that up. I think another major thing about finding the perfect home is not being influenced by people who are not finna pay your mortgage.
Okay, who not finna even stay stay in the house.
Who may not even visit you, if I'm being honest, but I mean, whatever. Because I feel like a lot of times, like, they'll say, oh, my mom didn't really, but is your mom living in the home? Again, no shade, mom. No shade, but I feel like you have to really take into account yourself versus what other people are saying about the home that's for you.
Yeah.
And to my experience, I've literally have the most smoothest deals with the clients that have never disclosed to anybody close to them that they're buying a home, they're purchasing a home. It's crazy. They're like, I haven't told anybody, and
Look,
those,
don't.
yeah,
Right.
don't.
And don't.
Thank you.
Okay, because my clients come with the whole family. I be like,
And I'd be like,
Gosh.
No, I really be playing it. I be
love
like,
you
so
guys. It's
mom,
gonna be a long
how do you
showing.
like it? What about you, Dad?
Yeah.
What about
sometimes they be quiet though. That you know.
Yeah, I think it's okay to get opinions, but I think when that opinion starts like really boiling over into like what you want,
Right, yeah.
that's when it becomes problematic. Because it's like one day you're like, this is the house of my dream, and we getting the offers ready. You're like, well, actually, I feel.
I feel like we talking about relationships. It's like a man, like, oh, I really love him, but your family's like,
You can't
You
be with him.
right. You can't be with him.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
If you're not willing to die about it, it's not the right one. That's
right.
die about it.
I think that's a good thing. No, but we did kind of bring this up, so I definitely want to ask you guys, because I know some of you guys have experience buying your own homes, and then I know with you actually, of course, being from Atlanta and stuff and seeing your family go through it. How would y'all describe like when y'all found the perfect home for you?
You know it. You know it.
You know, I literally did a day of showing, just a day. We probably looked at like 5 houses. Yeah. I had to look at 5 houses because the inventory is low at that point. It wasn't much to see, and I was like, I need
As a realtor, you know.
I was,
Yeah.
of course, already plotting on this, so like I already knew. But when I walked in, it was just like, I don't know, but I feel like it was so weird to put myself in a buyer's shoes and out of the realtor shoes.
Yes.
I like, because when I go in the house, I'm like, I'm looking at it for you. Like, I don't get no emotional attachment. But like when you put yourself in a buyer's shoes, it's like, oh my God,
this
the
is
walls
the
are
one.
talking to you. Like,
I
buy me.
love it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
this is
it's
my
my-
house.
Look, are you saying yes to the dress?
That's exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels like your heart is just like, I don't know. It just feels so full. Like, wow, I can really see myself like.
I bet you put your all into that offer. Like, I gotta get this house.
Oh yes, I was checking on her every day. So what's going on? What's
Yeah,
going on?
like you were more into the
I
deal.
was trying to get the right price. I got the right price. I was trying. She wasn't trying to get
Yeah.
me, but we met.
Yeah. I feel like too, to find a perfect home, everything's gonna go smoothly. And when I mean this, I really truly mean this in my heart. Like, you know, everything is gonna go the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
You're gonna work with the agent is gonna be smooth to work with. Transaction is gonna move smooth. If it's for you, it's really, really gonna
What's
be for you.
Oh, I always say that.
Okay.
I always say that.
And I remember when I had my first couple clients, I used to describe to them like the home buying process as dating. You're dating, right? So you're supposed to date around look at multiple homes, right? But when you're and not commit to a home yet, you're supposed to like sometimes you fall in love at first sight.
Don't put all your eggs
right?
in one basket.
No, that's
Shout
not
out to the pimps in the room. Shout out to the pimps in the room.
It's like
You're gonna, like, kiss a
dating.
lot of frogs
No,
before you
it's
meet your
like
prince.
dating because sometimes you fall in love at first sight, and sometimes you date around. But when it's the one, you're gonna know it's the one.
You know what? I kind of like that because I feel like when I found my home, you know, I did a circle back. Like, you know, I had to I thought it was, and then I had to
Really go back.
Circle the
It's
block.
like I was looking at a couple different homes. I put an offer. Actually, my house broke up with me, right? Because they picked another offer. So I went and found another one that I thought it was the one and all of that stuff. And then my house
The
circled
side
back,
chick.
like, you know.
Hey,
We're back on the market. We're back on the market.
And I was like, okay. Like, that was literally it. But like I was going back and forth because at that point I had found another house and I was going back and forth and I took my friends, you know, just wanting to get their opinion, but y'all don't listen to nobody no way. So, But I took them. I was like, oh, this house is so great. But it was something about my house, even though I did like the full renovation, right? It was just something about it. I felt like I could see myself
the
going up and
potential.
down the stairs doing this. I'm like, I'm going to put my TV here, my couch. When you start seeing your personalized furniture sitting in places and you're like already designing it. Oh, when y'all come over, we're going to have champagne. And I'm making plans in this house and we
That's
ain't
when you
even went
found the
bonded on
one.
the contract.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
I think when you can, dang, this really is like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
When you can look a house in his eyes and see your future.
Yeah.
That's
That's
truly
it.
how
That's
you
the
know, like,
house.
that's the one for you.
Yeah.
When you
have
can
to see the potential.
Yeah.
All my clients that find their home, they're already like, oh, I'm gonna put this right here. I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, yeah, they like it. Let me go ahead and call the agent.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think I should put here? I'm like, I think this would look good there. You know, you got to sell them the dream too. But
And it's the same for investors too. Like even if it's an investment property, they already know know, what they, kind of envision what because my investor, that was like that. We shopped a couple homes, and I found an option for him that was, I really, really wanted him to, get the house. And he's like, he just can't see the vision. But the other home, he walked in, he was like, this is the one. And I was like, okay.
Investors be,
and it was like,
I love it.
I feel like even more the first time home buyers, investors. No, my dad is he owns a construction company, and he used to walk in the houses. I'm talking about, I'm so scared. I'm behind him like, ugh. He like, this was a beauty. Like,
magnificent.
Excellent. Like, no, but it's like he always could see the vision. So I think that's the big thing. Having the vision, seeing the vision, that's kind of what makes it work. So,
yeah.
Y'all gonna find y'all first home. I believe
for sure.
Yeah.
And I even want to say, I feel like it doesn't always go easy for people. Like, of course, sometimes, like, yeah, you find the right house, but with real estate, like, there's always something. Something.
So if you have a bump in the road, don't feel like,
it's not meant to be. Right.
Because it's always bumps. Like, regardless, you're going to have something come up probably.
Don't let that deter you from something, that could be your dream home. That's made for you. So
But if you have
we are here. Oh, no, go ahead.
But if you have a great realtor, it won't seem like it.
And we are here. Find your dream home. So, like, just a quick recap, of course, when you buy your home, make sure the home is for you, right?
Right.
Make sure you are making decisions based off of what your finances can allow you to do. Make sure you're, buying the home for you and not the people who are not going to pay your bills. Now, if they're going to pay your bills, taking it to
you can
account.
give it a little bit.
Right.
But just make sure when you find the home for you and when you're out shopping, you're shopping for yourself and what best fits your needs.
Yeah.
And make sure you look at the numbers. Make sure it makes sense.
Numbers don't lie.
Okay.
But I think that is a great segue into our favorite segment of the day with our realtor babe, Miss Ashley Lorraine.
oh my gosh.
What we got today?
Thanks. She started singing, girl.
She's blushing, y'all.
Can we sing? Could we sound like a... We gonna
do
really
that
sing in
next
real life?
episode.
Destiny Child.
So for the question of the day segment, for those of you who are just now tuning in, we have this segment where we answer questions live on the show that are submitted to us via Instagram at Real Talk Atlanta or via email at realtalkatlpod@gmail.com. That is such a a mouthful.
Just Google us. You'll find us.
You'll find us.
Google me, baby.
Silly.
Yes, that.
So for today's question, I forgot the most important part. It can be anything personal or real estate related, but you got to keep it cute.
Keep it cute.
Okay. So for today's question, someone asked us our advice for if you're looking to purchase a home with your significant other or your partner. What would our advice be? We're for young women and homeowners. Some of us are in relationships. So, like, what advice would we give somebody?
That's a full
I was about to say, that's
episode.
a full
That might be a whole
Wait,
episode.
we got to give a few nuggets.
Just a little
Yeah,
nugget.
that's
I
a
would
full
say-
episode.
I would say I just bought a house with a man, so I feel like
With your man.
Not just any man.
not just any man,
Your man.
my man.
Hello.
Mommy.
But no, I say buying a house is not something small. So of course, don't just go buy a house with anybody. Okay, like when you make that decision that y'all are going to buy that house, like you just, because I know we just had a really serious conversation. Like, where do we see this going? What's the future? And if you see that and you feel that and you know that the future is like, okay, we here, we here, that's what we're about to do, then you do it on your own time. Because a lot of people be like, oh, you shouldn't buy a house before you get married. You can do what you want. I feel like there's no timeline to when you should
If
do
y'all already
something.
living together.
If it makes sense, do it. Period.
My biggest piece of advice is you have to know the person, right?
Yeah.
You have to, my biggest thing is obviously this is a really big investment. So you want to make sure that the person you're buying a home with, that they're financially responsible. That's the biggest thing. Like,
We don't want no broke boys.
okay?
Hello.
You want that mortgage paid and you don't want to be kicked out that house.
Okay.
So, no, and that's, I'm going to
important.
just piggyback on that and keep it as cute as possible. Know your man.
Okay.
Know his money.
Oh,
If the money is not there, and I'm just being real honest, I feel like, and this just goes for anybody, anything, like, don't tie yourself up in such a house is dead.
Don't
It's
carry
a
your
big
man.
commitment.
Don't
Yeah.
carry your man.
And it's debt at the end of the day. So, like, do not, take on such a large piece of debt if you feel like the person that you're taking it on with, would do something spiteful, like walk out that door and leave you to pay for it.
Yeah.
Or just
Take
all
the
of those
furniture.
Okay,
Please
now that's a scrub.
Please be equally yoked.
Yeah,
equally yoked.
I think
Yeah.
being equally yoked and just making sure that financially it's something that makes sense to do with your partner or whomever. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to, like you said, have those tough conversations because God forbid, what if something happens where you guys do break up? How are you going to split the house?
Lord.
Like, have y'all talked about
You have to talk about that.
Yeah.
about
We
those.
talked about it. If
I need a
something would happen, what
therapist.
do we do?
Yeah.
You have to talk about it because you never know. No one knows.
Look,
the
yo, look,
future
it's getting
knows.
too juicy. It's getting
Yeah,
too
it's
juicy.
just-
Don't get me into
It's
that.
getting scary. It's
Look, we gonna
scary.
put a pin in
But
it
it's
right
a good
there.
experience. I wouldn't have wanted to experience with anybody else. Like, it
Yeah,
feels
you have to
good.
know
great.
your
It feels
man.
really good to have him there with me doing this.
Yeah, you have to know your man
That's gonna be
before,
a hot-
and that's even if you're dating like ahead of time. Like, just go ahead and make sure you ask those questions ahead of time
Yeah.
because
Yes. Full
that's gonna
episode.
hurt you.
Yeah.
And if you're ready, he's not ready. Then now everything's falling on you. Like,
Yeah.
you
Mind
know that.
yourself, sis.
If you know you and your man can't communicate or y'all
Okay,
Don't drop that jam.
We are going to put a pin in this
We're gonna do an episode on that.
before we have another
Yeah.
40 minutes just on this question alone. Okay.
Right.
But no, seriously, as usual, we really do appreciate all the support that we get. Like, you know,
Seriously.
We love
yeah, we
y'all.
love y'all. Y'all really keep us going. So I'm excited for another 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes with these same ladies.
Period.
But
Stay tuned for the
Stay
girls.
tuned.
And if
Thank
you
you.
want to buy a house together, call us.
cheers. See you guys.
Bye.